Okay, welcome everybody. Tonight is the night. We're going to be sharing a lot with you, more than what we usually share. A lot of exciting time in real estate market. And there is going to be kind of mixed bag of news today. And we're going to have two specialists tonight, David Grossman and Randy Goodman, going to be working with us tonight. Jerry won't be able to attend tonight. Got some other commitment or something happens. So hey, that's life that happens. Welcome to Real Estate Investors Meeting. So those who are not a member yet, we would encourage you to get your annual membership at freecanada.com. It's less than $1 a day or so, but you're going to find a lot more value when you connect with one person, one connection, one lead. That's all it takes to be in this business, be successful. Network is to multiply your network. That's how you deal. If you have a deal you want to share with us, please set it ahead of the time. You must be a member, and we can put that your deal in the PowerPoint, and it can be seen by all the members here tonight and otherwise at the same time. Something about due diligence. I cannot stress enough, and I got a situation in my table that a gentleman who's going to lose his house worth $1.4 million, and he's going to become homeless. The sad part is the house is already kind of paid off. He bought another piece of property, and one mistake is too many. He bought a piece of property, and that property is not working out. The greed took over, forgot to do a few things. That piece of property is in jeopardy, and he may gonna lose altogether everything. One mistake. Is that mistake worth $5,000? He should have spent, or he should have taken education, or he should have done basic due diligence. The cost of this mistake is $1.5 million, and being homeless on the street, starting from scratch. So anytime you're doing your due diligence, please make sure you're dealing with experts only, not your Uncle John or Uncle Tom or your bartender or the hairdresser or your best friend. They're all good people, but they are not the experts though. So make sure you are definitely dealing with experts, by the way. This is happening very rapidly. You might have seen some of the latest videos on the, latest stuff on the news about how this thing is becoming bad or worse, how the power sale and foreclosures are rising like crazy. How long they're gonna last? If the bank already, the two banks have failed in US, and are we safe? What's happening with the short-term or long-term mortgages? What's happening with the fixed mortgages? What's going to happen with variable mortgages? We're going to have a David Grossman walk you through. But if anybody who is facing a power sale or foreclosure, you're welcome to call us. We'll be more than happy to help the family out. Inflation and interest rate are the two key words in 2023, 2022, and this is causing a lot of, I would say, uneasiness among all Canadians. Interest rates, hikes of interest rate 8 times in a year. That's not sitting well with the Canadians, and a lot of Canadians are struggling, especially with homeowners who've got multiple properties, who are not aware of what to do. This inflation is not going anywhere yet, so there may be a pause right now for the time being, but we will see. Here's some good news. We got about 22,000 new jobs started in February 2023 compared to 150,000 January. And again, unemployment rate is good, but there are some telltale signs about some of the retailers, which are US, going to go out of business. And the bankruptcies already start jumping in. I mean, the bankruptcy is going slightly higher than what we thought. So what does that mean? Majority of the Canadians, majority of the real estate investors or speculators will only come in the market when the market is red hot. But that's not the wrong, that's the wrong time to buy. This is the perfect time When everything is upside down, it's the time to remain focused. You can get everything what you want. You can pick and choose the property. You might be getting a vendor take back or owner financing. This chaos and confusion will offer tremendous amount of opportunities. Don't sit in the back seat, don't sit on the fence. Look around, get yourself educated. You may be surprised that you may gonna come across what you're gonna come across though. So this is a recent report from bankruptcy. The bankruptcies are up. It hurts every time you see it, but that's real life. This is a good news, and I'm going to share something what we are talking about. There are about 1.5 million new Canadians going to come to this country in by 2025. What do they need? A housing, a place to rent, place to buy. And are we ready for it? What does that going to reflect upon 2025? Is the real estate market going to go another boom because there will be shortage of housing? Is rental market is going to go crazy across Canada? Where all these people who are coming in, 1.5 million Canadians, plus another 500,000 students, and plus there might be a couple 100,000 people who come as refugees who are due to war or whatever the reasons are for humanitarian reasons. How are we going to accommodate them? But there is something I'd like to share with you tonight, and you'll be surprised. Actually, there are few things, there are different opinions, but they should be. Canada, land of empty houses. What? The land of empty houses? Yes. Majority of people live in a house where they have extra bedrooms. In Toronto, there are about 2 million extra rooms every day, and over 5 million in the Golden Horseshoe. Well, would that take care of some situation? No. The question is, if the zoning allow us to make some changes, that can solve part of the problem. That can definitely solve the problem. There are a few things I'd like to share with you tonight. This is our house or empty nesters. You might have noticed that people live in bigger houses, maybe 5-10 bedroom apartment, a house. Guess who lives there? Maids and dogs. We're the owner, not in town. It's like a big white elephant. Well, the zoning is one way of fixing the problem. Yeah, the zoning can do the magic, but they can allow, we have 350 kilometers of laneway houses in Toronto. That can add a lot of housing without doing some major infrastructure. Again, this thing is, it takes time, and not everybody's interested in converting their laneway or garage into coach house and so on, but there is some solution here though. Check before you invest, by the way. There's something you must do in case you are investing with a new company and company unknown to you. You are requested. Definitely check before you invest RCA. This is a service offered by Ontario Security Commission. Your phone number. When you are not sure, please do not proceed. Power sales are coming like crazy. What does that mean? Power sale foreclosures. People are defaulting, unable to renew the mortgages, and they're trying to catch up. But somehow, you can't live off of the 10 cents on a dollar after bringing you home. You are paying all the money towards housing. And there are some of the issues we discussed last meeting when some lady called me in from Vancouver. She goes, my mortgage payments are gone by $1,000. We were able to offer a quick solution, which was saying that this can be taken care by having an international student from Japan who will pay $1,200 a month, and he will live in the house for 1 year. So that is temporary fix, though. These are some of the headlines which are pretty disturbing. This has happened January 30. Help must sell in 30 days, and this is something which can create more problem. I understand that a lot of people have overstretched, but multiple properties, hoping for selling, flipping, or whatever, and the banks are being very tough. So are the private lenders. Private lenders are very cautious now. The mortgage investment corporations are pulling, and they're making it much, much harder for people to come in. There are a lot of Canadians who bought the properties, or houses, or condos, or townhouses, they overstretched, and now they're walking away from the deposit. They're putting the builders into jeopardy, and builders are saying, well, what the heck are we going to do? And they just can't keep the deposit. And if the property gets sold for less, this is another ballgame. There are a few areas in Toronto area where people have bought the house at the peak in 2022, which are pre-construction, and the same builder is selling for like lot less prices, the same model, same everything, and people are making fuss about it. But this is something we're gonna see. This is the circus. We're gonna see people who are crybabies, people who are benefit from it. But this is one of those stories which are gonna continue for a while. What are we expecting? Nobody knows except we all people or projection the market may gonna drop further, which also help us to some degree to have speculators being kicked out of the market, and maybe there's a bit more stable market. So if you're not getting newsletter, please make sure you go to flippingforprofit.ca/for newsletter. That can be very helpful for you. So today, when I started the business, the mortgage rates were about 22.46%, 81 August 24th was the date. Now people are saying the rate is 5.9, 4 point what, or 6%. Yes, it is. People got caught by surprise. Nobody was expecting the rates to go up that much. And in a way, these are the rates from since 2010. This is the first time we ever had in history that the rates go up, and this may not be a lot of people. Now, tonight we're going to discuss, we're getting a mixed messages. The mixed message, the bond market is telling us that the fixed rate mortgage rates are making a drop. On the other hand, you're getting the big headline saying the US Fed Chair Powell saying, hey, there is expecting more rate hikes. How does it gel in our Canadian market? To address all that, we're going to bring our real mortgage broker, my brother from another mother, David Grossman. He's going to enlighten us what is happening in the real estate mortgage market. How do you tackle it? If you have an issue, please speak to him directly. David, it's all yours, my friend. David, are you there?
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm just adjusting here.
If you can
okay, you can
louder,
hear me all right, right?
That'll be good.
You can hear me?
I can hear you, but it's very low.
Okay, let me see if there's anything I can do about that.
Or
Hang
if
on a
we can put close to
I
the
hear him really loudly,
You can hear me loudly?
very loudly, yes.
Okay,
perfect.
so all right. Okay, so nice to be here again for the monthly networking meeting, Navtaj, with you, together with you and Randy and all of the members. I do get calls from time to time, and I appreciate all the calls and the referrals. So thank you very much. Yeah, so again, this question kind of rears its head. Are rates going up? Are they going down? Why do we hear one day the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell announces on March 7th, he says that rates are going to go up. We haven't seen the end of it yet. And then in the last couple of days, we hear something new, especially here in Canada. But even in the US, because we had, I believe it's 2 banks that have become insolvent. One of them is SVB, and I don't know the name of the other bank, but it has sent a bit of a shockwave through the industry. And I think that at least here in Canada, that we have seen the end of rate increases, and we're going to see some fixed term reductions uh, almost immediately. Because there's been a drop in some bond yields, so that immediately causes a reduction in mortgage rates. 1 and 2 year rates are likely to come down by around a half a point or so. I think short term is your way to go. Again, every borrower has slightly different needs, um, ability to withstand risk, in terms of what their income is, and so if they're totally maxed out and they can't afford any risk at all, they might want to go into a longer term mortgage. But if they can afford to take some risk, uh, short term is normally the way to go anyway, or with a variable rate. Um, there was question until these two banks became insolvent. We were kind of teetering, right? Like, we think in Canada that we've hit as far as the overnight rate and the prime rate, which I think is now at 6.7. We think we've hit the max, and that we're just kind of waiting for things to come down and waiting for inflation to cool off. But the economy is still ticking along. Unemployment is low, and as a result, that's why you got a statement like you did coming from the Federal Reserve in the U.S. about further increases, and then Canada often follows the U.S., but not always. So there's a question mark in our head. Well, if rates aren't, if inflation's not coming down quick enough, or what's going to happen, and our rates going to need to go up. So I think we have a direction now, a firm direction, I hope, in that rates are going to start coming down, not just the short-term fixed rates, but that also in the next couple months, maybe we'll see some decreases in the overnight rate and the prime rate as well. As of yesterday, institutional or traders here in Canada were pricing in a 0.75 point drop by the end of the year, which is great for me. My mortgage is coming due in December of this year, so I feel like we are at a turning point now, and now is a great time to buy. That is my feeling. We're just kind of before the spring market. It's still kind of pretty wintry out there. I think things are going to start to take off soon in the spring, and if we see continued reduction in mortgage rates, that will fuel the market. We know, as Navtav, you mentioned, and we've discussed before, the amount of immigration that is we're likely to see here. A lot of people landing in Toronto, in the GTA, and then moving outward from there. All those things are keeping the market very buoyant and consistent. So I feel like we're kind of in a window right now where, if you've been kind of sitting on the sideline and thinking that let's wait and see because maybe there's going to be a big recession and prices are going to drop further, I have a feeling that now is the time. I mean, listen, I have no crystal ball. It's just a feeling that I have, and yeah. So that's basically what I've got today as far as rates. Does anybody have any questions?
David, what are you doing
Yes.
with those people whose property value have dropped by 10-20% and they are up for renewal?
Right. So, I just on that note, I wanted to mention something that interesting that came up with a borrower of mine who could have been in real trouble, and we're kind of lucky. A borrower of mine came to me 1 year ago, and he said he needed to take equity out of his house. We got him a second mortgage up to 85% of the value. So he's got a both first and a second. That second mortgage coming up for renewal like this month. And I believe that the loan to value of that second mortgage is now up at around 100%. right? Because of the drop in the market. And we're just lucky that the lender said that they're going to renew. If the lender would have said no, we're not renewing, he would not been able to refinance. You can't get private money to 95 or 100% loan to value. He would have had to sell the property. But that really wasn't your question. It was just a little interesting tidbit I thought I would mention. Your question was, what happens if your mortgage comes up for renewal and you can't afford to make the payments? Was that your question?
No, if the lender to say, I'm not renewing it, what's the next
Well,
step?
right. So yeah, well, that's exactly the case that I had now. And as I mentioned, in my case, we were fortunate, but uh, you know, private lenders are more cautious now than they were a year ago, and values are down. So if the value of your properties drop by, let's say, 15%, and your mortgage lender is also being more conservative and saying that, last year I would have gone to 85, but this year I'm only going to 75. If you're highly leveraged, you can have a very serious problem. And I'm speaking with borrowers every day. I spoke with one yesterday. A person owned probably about 5 properties in total, and he's been quite aggressive in the past in acquiring new properties, taking out equity, and so now he's finding himself in a situation where he cannot get out of his private mortgages, and they're just too expensive. So he's got to start selling off his properties, and there's not a ton of equity in each of the properties anymore because he was highly leveraged to begin with, and prices are down. So what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story, I would say that if you're going to invest in real estate, it's not enough to just buy a place, and at least this is just my opinion, to just buy a place and rent it out and wait and hope. You need to have a plan to add value and do something to drive more revenue. So if you're buying a property and let's say you have a knack for adding units to generate more rental income, maybe you're in the business of doing short-term rentals and Airbnb, and hey, even that can dry up. I mean, right now, I think people are hot to travel because it's post-COVID and they've been pent up, and also some people have the luxury where they can work from anywhere. So let's get up and go. But I don't know what that market's going to look like in 3 years. So I would say, you need to exercise some caution. You need to have some money put away for a rainy day, and you need to have a plan to add value. And that's where I know I've mentioned it before, Navtash. I know that some of the people in your group have called me in the past. These are people who are really working hard to do just that, to add value. They're looking at how can we rezone? How can we, if we buy properties that have potential development opportunity? I'm not going to mention any names, but those people know who they are, and they're smart. They're smart buyers, and they see opportunity, change the use, add units, land where you can add on to and continue to build and grow. So you've got to have a plan, and that's why it's important that people stick with people like yourself, Navtaj, and work closely with some of the experienced people in your group to build your wealth, because there are opportunities out there. There are people who are in trouble now, and you can take advantage of that. Those types of opportunities. There's money available if you have a plan and you have some resources for a rainy day. We don't want to see people putting every last penny into their investments. You've got to have some money for a rainy day. But your group, Nav, has been a huge value, I know, to a lot of people, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here every month. And yeah, so it's a long answer, and I don't know if it was a very direct one, but that's what I have to say.
Okay, let me ask you a very daredevil question.
Mhm.
Let me become devil's advocate. What happened if the builder, I'm sorry, if the lender want to pull the plug on you, the mortgage is due, what are the options for a homeowner? What are the options for a lender?
All right. Well, I mean, pull the plug. So I guess if you're saying if you're in a private mortgage and the lender decides not to renew, is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yes.
Well, so in that case, you've got to see if you want to stay in the property. You've got to speak to a good mortgage broker. You can give me a call, and we will see if we can find you the money um, to keep the property. If not, then you should consider selling the property because you don't want to be sitting on it and waiting and missing mortgage payments, because then you're going to be paying penalties and everybody's legal bills, including your own and including the lenders. So you've got to be proactive. Um, and I can try and help you to refinance to the best of my ability. I have lots of lenders, and but if not, then sell.
Well, here's my question to you, maybe a little bit more direct.
Mhm.
Lenders have no mercy, and he want to start the power of sale right away, a foreclosure. And period. He doesn't want to give you second chance. And is that quite common?
Well, first of all, you need to know if you have a private mortgage, you don't wait till the last minute to find out if the lender is going to renew, right? So if you borrowed money, you would know if you have a renewal clause in there. And what are the terms of that renewal? Does the lender have a right to withdraw if he's made a commitment to renew? So you need to know what your rights and your obligations are, and you want to start that process 3 months before the mortgage matures, because if you don't have a way to exit the mortgage and you have to sell the house, and you're dealing with a lender who's going to be a real hard ass, excuse my language,
Yes.
you're going to need 3 months so that you've got time to call Randy and list the place for sale if we cannot get you the mortgage. Because I mean, look, they can't foreclose in a day, or take, but they can move quickly. You've got about I think 15 days initially, and then they issue a statement of claim or something
Right.
like that, and you've got another month or 6 weeks to remedy this. It doesn't happen immediately, but you certainly don't want to wait to the last minute, because you're going to be paying a lot of extra fees.
Of course. So my question is very simple. There are lenders who are private lenders. There are two types of lenders, I call them. And I got one more question before you let off today. This is a very tough question, and a lot of people are facing it. I'm sure you heard about it. Number one, there are two types of lenders. One are individual lenders, and they got very panicky. Other one is MIC, Mortgage Investment Corporations. And generally speaking, mortgage investment corporation says, okay, hey, you got 3 more months before renew it. Unfortunately, will not be renewed. Or if you're going to renew, it'll be 5% more fees or 3% more fees, which is pretty standard. And they say, if you are unable to renew it, let us know. And they just get a good feel of it. And they say, listen, you know what? It's time for you to maybe talk to a realtor. Let's compromise, cut down the losses for you and us. If you can't afford the building and a mortgage is going to be up, you can afford it. Maybe time for you to move on.
Right.
That's one part of it. Second part of it is I got a situation here. I got a bunch of these things happen in last, I would say, 2-3 weeks time. Private lenders are we're putting a first mortgage, a private lender, and the title insurance company refused to do the insurance. Is that pretty common?
I've seen that happen once before, where the title insurance, I know they're getting more and more sticky, and they're asking more questions on private deals. I think that if there's, something funny about the deal, if there's like I worked on a deal where it was an estate that was borrowing the money, and one of the trustees of the estate had had a judgment against herself personally, and it was a problem getting title insurance. We were still able to close the loan. We needed to compensate we need to get a lender some extra compensation in order to make up for the additional perceived risk. That may not always be the case. The lender may choose not to do the deal, but I do have a lender that was willing to do the deal, even without the title insurance, right? So yeah, I know the title insurance companies are becoming more cautious. So, that's why you need to be very proactive, because the title insurance it's like the last thing that you do. So, as a mortgage broker, I mean, I have a deal right now I've been working on it for 3 months. And, the entire time there's something about this particular deal where I'm saying to myself, God, I hope we're going to get the title insurance, because you hate to work on a deal for 3 months and then it falls apart at literally the 11th hour, because that's not until then that the lawyer is kind of trying to close the transaction and asks for the title insurance. Now, there may be a way to find out in advance, but yeah, it just underscores the need to not wait to the last minute.
Well, I got 4 situations on my table for
Mhm.
last 2 or 3 weeks time, where the lender said, I'm not lending it if there's no title insurance. Title insurance company says there's no way we're going to lend money, or because it's a private mortgage. Like I got 4 of them sitting on my table, and they asked me if I can help them out. And I said, listen, I don't know about about this scenario, why they are saying no to it. And they went to 2 or 3 different title insurance companies, whatever the numbers are, I'm not sure exactly, but the deals are not closing. And because the red flag is, if you're getting a property, it's a high interest rate, you're putting only 5 or 10% down. Somehow title insurance companies are very, very nervous about it. They feel there's something funny going on or whatever it is, but they are declining it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's something maybe I might like to speak to you maybe next week and see if there is something we can do. Maybe push those deals through your investors and see if it can be done.
Yeah, well, by all means, let's have a chat about that tomorrow or whenever you
Sure.
have time, and let's see if we can do something.
Yeah, so please, those who are listening to presentation tonight, just a little takeaway tonight. If you are financing a deal right now through private funds, make sure you check up front if the title insurance is available, if the lender will be okay without a title insurance or with a title insurance. That's a deal breaker at the last minute. That can create a lot of problem for you. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, there's lots of things, defaults are happening right now in the market. We're going to be talking a lot more about it today. But I want to say thank you, David. I hope you're going to stick around for a while. If people have any questions, they can ask you directly.
Thank you so much, Navtej.
Sure.
I'll stick around as long as I can, and
Sure.
otherwise, take a note of my phone number, and you can call me or text me anytime.
All right. Thank you, David. Appreciate it, my friend.
Thanks so much.
All right. Now, moving forward, we're going to skip the tax part today. We are paying way too much taxes, and people don't realize it. Who pay the capital gains? People who pay the capital gains are need to learn a little bit more about taxes. And the gentleman you need to speak to, Jerry Hogan, tonight. He had the last minute, he had something came up. First time ever, last 2 years or so that he has to go. But anyway, his number, you can speak to him. So rising interest rates, falling sales, pushing investors out of Toronto pre-construction condo market. The trouble begins when the appraisal is coming much, much lower. And that is pretty common now, not only in the condos, even the housing and so on. And this is gonna create some sort of a situation, but it also create what? Opportunities for us. And we might be able to pick up a few deals where people wanna say, listen, I just need to take a walk, period. You wanna take over the deal, take over the deal. I am leaving the deposit, take over the deposit. There are over 32,000 condos getting ready in GTA, so there are tons of opportunity for you. I'm going to be giving you a little bit more detail as we go along. So talking about February was cold month in every aspect of it. The sales are down, the prices are down, and we're going to have Randy Goodman to enlighten us exactly. This is how the market looked like in Toronto. And before I show you the slide, I like to bring my sister from long-time sister, Randy. Are you there, my friend?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Navtej, for
Randy
having.
is basically, let me just say few little things about her. If some of you might know of her, somebody don't. She's an international speaker, 10 times, not one time, 10 times #1 international bestseller, author, publisher, growth, even promoter. She does also real estate events, and I've known her for many, many years, even though she's 17, I believe, or 16, something along the line. Randy, it's all yours, my friend, and I'm gonna leave this number with you for February sales.
Thank you, Navtej. It's such a pleasure to be in your community. So, yes, we are in a little bit of a different market. So it's been just about a year since the Bank of Canada started raising interest rates, and the prices for homes have dropped over the last year from the record peak, a year ago, February, when they were at their max, and mitigating the impacts of higher borrowing costs. So we all know the interest rates went up, and people kind of pulled back a little. The housing market started to decline last year. It's leveled off in the last 4 or 5 months or so. Many home buyers have decided to purchase a lower priced home to offset the higher borrowing costs. And the share of some home purchasers below $1 million is up substantially compared to this time last year. Recently released Ipsos polling suggests that buying intentions have picked up for 2023. The increased demand will lead to increased competition between buyers. This will eventually lead to renewed price growth in many segments of the market. The average selling price for February 2023 was $1.095 million, which is down just about 18% compared to February 2022. Some of this decline is attributed to the fact that the share of sales below $1 million was 57% in February 2023 versus only 38% a year earlier. So you can see the shift of the price of the houses that people are going after, that they're purchasing now. It's become a lot less. So it's more affordable for people, and they can afford those monthly payments. As we move towards a June mayoral election or by-election in Toronto, housing supply will once again be front and center in the policy debate. New and innovative solutions, including the City of Toronto's initiative to allow duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes in all neighborhoods citywide. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more in a few minutes. So one thing I want to bring up are some funding options that you guys may know about. There's different types of funding from the government, and I know Navtaj is the king of grants. So definitely buy his books. He's got tons and tons of great information there and years of research, so it's well worth it. You can get a small business grant and purchase property or upgrade to do repairs on a property. And if anybody wants the link for the government grants, I'm happy to share that link. Just reach out to me afterwards. There's rehab programs to assist low-income families in carrying out repairs. Investors can use this to upgrade a rental property. There are seniors programs that will provide financial assistance for minor home adaptations. So as we age, we may need assistance in the washroom, widening doors, adding ramps, making countertops more accessible, etc. So there are grants for that. Another repair program is available for low-income households in rural areas that support a landlord as well as the tenant. And you can also get a small business loan to start up a real estate business. So you can actually fund your purchases. And again, if you want the link to the government programs, reach out to me and I'll share that link. Okay, so getting back to the multiplexes, the expansion of multiplexes in Toronto will be a hot topic for the June election. There's a multiplex study, which is one component of the city's expanding housing options in neighborhoods initiative, EHON. The study focuses on permitting multiplexes residential buildings containing up to 4 units across Toronto's low-rise neighborhoods. There's a whole study, they have a map and everything. It aims to bring more types of housing to Toronto's low-rise neighborhoods. The study proposes to permit multiplexes in all areas designated neighborhoods in Toronto's official plan. The proposal supports a more equitable approach to growth in Toronto, extending more flexible use of residential buildings to residents of all of Toronto's neighborhoods. Multiplex housing is 2, 3, or 4 units in a single building, or a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, as you're probably more familiar with. These homes could be rental or condominium units, and they could either be in the form of converted houses or purpose-built as a multiplex. In many parts of Toronto today, the existing zoning permits large homes, but they are often limited to 1 or 2 units. The approach of this study is to allow up to 4 units and generally the same building size as what is currently permitted. However, the team is studying some zoning changes to make multiplexes more flexible to build. So more units, same scale. Existing zoning envelopes permit building volumes that can be better leveraged to house additional units within a low-rise scale. So taking those single family homes that we're quite used to and converting them into fourplexes or multiplexes. Key changes proposed in the zoning bylaw amendment for multiplexes is the permit to permit multiplex building types in different zones, 3 different zones, harmonized building depth, size, yard setbacks, and main wall height regulations for all building types, increase 9-meter height maximums to 10 meters, permit up to 2 porches, decks, balconies per unit, exclude multiplex building elements like shared entrances and stairwells from gross floor area calculations, which would decrease your living space. Lift restrictions on multiple front entrances for secondary units, amend U values to permit up to 4 units in a residential zones, like wall thickness, insulation, exempt multiplexes from ST values that specify the maximum number of stories permitted. So to allow more stories. And so if you have any questions or want the link to this information, please message me. I'm happy to share that. And I just want to make one comment about multiple offers. So multiple offers are still popping up in some neighborhoods and with some types of properties. As an investor selling a property, this is a desirable outcome, but if you're looking to purchase something on the market, it is not as the purchaser. But if you guys have any questions about multiple offers in the GTA and beyond and how to create them or avoid them, reach out to me. I'd be happy to meet with you to discuss.
Excellent, Randy. RandyGoodman.com is her website, by the way. And every month she's here. Any questions you have, you can direct to me, or I can simply call her up directly. Actually, that's much better. 647-284-7601 in case you're only listening and not able to watch video. But Randy Goodman is the person. She, as I said, that she's the real estate broker, even producer and publisher. And she's the right person for you when it comes to buying and selling any kind of real estate across Canada, by the way. And you may gonna find it when you speak to her. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it, my friend. Hang on there. We're gonna move into the next thing. The legal disclaimer: it's illegal to operate a broker, real estate, mortgage, or securities unless you're properly licensed. You cannot even charge a finder fee. It's perfectly legal to buy or sell a property or sign a contract. By the way, make sure you get legal advice from a lawyer before you do anything else. Make sure you do your due diligence before you get yourself into a situation here. So today, I'm going to have a lot of information for you. Something you may gonna like, something it may be a little bit rude awakening for you. So we go with the same path, Ikigai. That's what you love, that you're really good at. The universe needs it, and you get paid a lot of money. Is that what you're doing for your living? Is that your passion you're living for? Are you living your dreams? This real estate business is perfect because we help a lot of people by doing so. And there is a free seminar coming up soon about power sale properties in Ontario. You will be all invited, and you can extend this invitation to your broker, to your family and friends. It can be quite rude awakening, and you need to understand that, hey, there are window of opportunities opens up. Just grab it, take a few good deals. There's a lot of profits in these properties, by the way. Some of the most expensive homes, does it require to acquire them? How much income do you need? What kind of closing costs you need? These numbers I have more or less mentioned between Ontario and BC, but Canada is beyond BC and Ontario. But just to let you know, the most expensive real estate that does exist more or less in GTA as well as Vancouver, though. So these are the least least cheapest houses in Canada, and you may gonna find none of them exist on Ontario or BC. There are more of them in Alberta. Alberta is a very good market. Calgary and Edmonton are showing very positive signs, by the way, and the rest of them is Saskatchewan and then Quebec. Some of you might be from Quebec, but again, Regina is also still a good market when it comes to our prairies, though. So the Canadian home prices have dropped quite a bit across Canada, and these are some of the highlights. I'm going to give you a little bit more detail. Which areas have affected the most, where the property value have dropped to 25 to 30%, and some of the areas are still struggling through. So why I want to say that to you, I'm going to give you very specific information tonight where you can zoom into the area. You're going to say, hey, this is the area, there's going to be a lot of defaults. And these defaults, if I can pick up property for 50 cents a dollar or 40 cents a dollar or 35% discount, whatever it is, I might be helping the current homeowner and also making myself pretty wealthy at the same time. It's a double-edged sword. Everybody benefits from it as long as you utilize the sword properly, though, with proper knowledge, and make sure everybody's treated respectfully. Everybody walks with a winner. And nobody shall ever become homeless in this country called Canada. And that's our commitment. Anytime anybody come across, we do our very best to make sure nobody goes homeless, though. So the interest rate, if you want to see the scenario since 1992, people are saying the interest rate were high. If you look back, I'm sorry, it's not that bad, actually. You know, we had since 2008, because of the US, rates are much lower than they're supposed to be, just to regain the strength back in US market. But again, since the interest rates start going up, it is kind of, we're feeling that, hey, they came in by surprise and they went up a little too fast. Just like the real estate value went way too up in pandemic. I'm sorry, there is somebody have to pay the piper. Somebody have to suffer from it. So if you look at average interest rate from last 30 years, is about 5.78, which is not bad compared to the rates what we have. And the highest interest rate we had was in 1981, and they were at approximately 21% or 22%, by the way. So if those who are really worried about interest rate, look back, and if you look at the figures at the back, it's not that bad at all altogether. Okay, and that's important. The next thing we want to talk about is subprime mortgages. This is big one. The Financial Service Regulatory Authority of Ontario, FSRA, is kind of issuing a lot of warnings. Why is that? Simply because that private subprime mortgage or private lending has gone way too high, and they estimate that every 1/10 of mortgages in Ontario are originated by these people. That's why we were discussing with the David Grossman about getting a title insurance. Title insurance companies are very, very cautious. So are the lenders, so are the lawyers. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. We deal with hard money lenders at much higher rate, but they're for short-term basis, but we are buying at deeply discounted properties. But there is an issue. The issue is right now, the rates are going up and down. The US market is going through some changes. It's going to reflect the Canadian market. But I do believe Canadian market economy is much stronger. Our future looks much, much promising, and I believe there's a huge shortage of manpower, and the economy is doing exceptionally okay, and there's not too many red flags here, except the payments of the home mortgages, the amount of prices of the house have gone up, are becoming very unaffordable for an average Canadian. So here is something they are saying: there are a lot of houses which have been sold, less than $1 million. Most of them were in other areas. One of the alarming factor is Durham region. Durham region is pretty large, but they're talking about Oshawa, where the property prices have dropped by 23%. Halton region, Orangeville, and also they have experienced significant price drops though. Now, these price drops bring opportunities and also a headache for those people who are there, who have stretched themselves way too far. And if they're financing already 80% loan to value ratio, or a little higher or lower, those properties are already underwater. Some lenders may not feel comfortable. They like to pull the plug, and they're going to call power sale, or hey, let's get rid of the property. Can't afford it. Interest rates are higher. So there are going to be a lot of challenges coming in. When there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. Challenges for somebody, opportunities for others. And I'm sorry, it's a capital society. Again, when market is way too hot, people who are asking a lot of money. When market goes down, it's just like seesaw, and we have seen it before many times over. So, question: are we in buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? What exactly is happening? Now, there are 25,406 condos now getting ready. And do we have enough absorption power? People who have bought them, are they capable of closing the deals? And that's $1 million question. That also offers a lot of opportunities for us. Before the people file, they extend them too far, before they file a bankruptcy, what are the options? Nobody wants to walk away from nothing. And if they can save their credit, if they don't have to go bankruptcy, if they have to give up 1 or 2 properties, it might be a much, much better solution for them. And the problem is we have a lot of speculators who are accustomed to lose a lot of money because they invest in stock market. For them, losing money is not a big deal, and they're okay with it, and they can move forward because they have done it before many times over and over. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for investors if you happen to be looking in the market very carefully. These deals may not be on, I'm sorry, may not be on MLS or for realtors. They may gonna come through different sources. If you're not aware of it, hey, I suggest you attend one of the meeting. We'll teach you how to do it properly though. These are the house prices decline all across Canada, you can say on the national level. If you look at from Canada to Halifax to Sherbrooke to Ottawa to St. Winnipeg, Edmonton. And by the way, the properties in Toronto and Vancouver are not doing that bad altogether. They are doing much, much better. And now, this is a kind of hard to take. And again, this is the headlines. The prices are expected to fall 30 to 38% in Durham, London, Windsor, Guelph, Peterborough, Barrie, Orillia, Kitchener, Niagara Falls, and other areas. And Toronto might price may gonna drop by 20%. Mississauga 23, York Region 19, Ottawa 20%. Now these are our projections, but they're based on something. So you can kind of have, these are kind of red flags ahead of you, and you can bank on it if you like to it, just keep on it, utilize it as a learning lesson, but watch out for these markets though. Now, let's say you are a investor but don't have capital. A deal come through, bring it to us, get paid for it. Please don't waste any lead. The purpose of networking is to connect. And you connect with the right set of people, and that connection is supposed to make money for you. So it doesn't matter where the opportunities are. And there are a lot of opportunities for big players, mid-time players, and we come across, we don't discuss every time on the meeting, we don't discuss every deal with everybody. A lot of deals are done silently, and not every deal has to be talked about. So this is a typical scenario, and that is very painful. So this is an example for a person who bought a piece of property in London, Ontario. Fernando Santos and Gustavo Pereira. Their mortgage payment went from $2,800 to $4,400 a month, which is approximately $1,600 more, a little bit higher than 150%. Their combined income is $140,000, which is pretty reasonable. If the house prices have went down by 25–30%, yikes. So what they have, if we look at it, the monthly income is $8,000 and the expenses are $7,800. And there's no room left for the food. No room for the food. If you look at it, insurance, car payments, gas, renovation, and how about some basic needs? This is a reflection where you may not realize it, that a lot of Canadians are facing it, and they may not have much option to downsize. How long can they survive with $200 a month extra? If any repair comes in or something happens, or emergency repairs happen, life happens, they may have a child or so. This is where we are heading. Even the interest rates may stabilize, may come down maybe 1/4% or 0.5%, or may go up or so. That is causing a lot of pain, especially to those people who have very limited income. They're not investors like you and me. We can create income here, income there. We might have a lot of passive income, some massive income. So these people they need something. So what do we do? So there are several different options. If you're making a note, I would suggest you make a note. And these notes can be extremely powerful. So one of the best things you can do as an investor, They just need you to be as a consultant, and they can offer you part of the ownership as a fraction ownership. That could work out. If they can utilize extra 1,000 or 2,000 a month, hey, that could work out for them. And we can create the income without spending any of our own money and become super aggressive, super creative, and come up with something which is permanent solution for life. It's not for 2 years. We can create several different techniques. That's what we teach you in the apprenticeship program. That's what we teach you. This is what we do for a living. That's what we've been doing for the last 40 plus years, though. So this is some good news for people who have rental units. Rentals are up, and you can pick and choose. And the funny part of this one, the rents are still going up for 15% to, if you look at it very carefully, the selling price have not changed much. But one thing which have changed a lot is the rental from 1 year, 20%, 15%. And that could be good news for if you're a condo owner. But again, this is what it is. That's what it is. So this is the cities where it has hit the highest from the peak, and where people are still feeling the pain in the area of Windsor, Oshawa, Sudbury, London, St. Catherine, Hamilton, Kitchener, Kingston, Thunder Bay, Ottawa, Toronto, and Ontario as a whole. This is what is exactly happening in the market compared to 2019 to 2023 right now, how much there was appreciation. Even though if you look at Windsor, the appreciation was much stronger, price value almost doubled up. But if they drop by 25%, depending when you are in the market. If you're at the tail end of the market, you may not have much time to survive. It may gonna take a long time to recover that money back. Again, it's all about timing. But even if you're stuck, there are solutions available. You don't need to throw the towel. You can still come out. This is something which reflects the economy. I will always look at US and say, hey, what's going to do when it's a bear market? Now, if you look at Apple is down, Shopify is down, Cloudflare is down, Amazon is down by 45, 46%, 16 to 56%. But if you look back in 2008, when everything crashed, if you have bought and invested any of those stocks, your appreciation is like 3,000%, or 15,000%, 2,400%. So what does that mean to you for an average investor? Hey, maybe this is the time for you to start looking into market carefully with not your money, with bringing some joint ventures, utilizing RSP money, utilizing TFSA, picking up some deeply discounted properties with definitely positive cash flow, and where you can add a little bit more value to it, which can create a massive income, create another passive income. Even the interest rate go 20%, you can still handle it. That's a preparation. So this is a good time where you can pick and choose, build up the portfolio if you like. Interest rates are not that bad, but in exchange for the higher interest rate, there is a huge market available for you. No competition. Again, you plan your portfolio accordingly, you built it, and we're gonna be, as I mentioned, we're gonna have one free seminar coming soon within a week or so under power sale, where you can make a lot of money. What exactly is power sale? They don't teach you when you're a realtor, they don't teach you when you're a mortgage broker. It's a very specific knowledge. If you get to learn it, wow, it could multiply your chances. So these are some of the cities where the homes are selling much faster than compared to others, simply because of lack of supply. People still need to move around. People have been holding back for almost a year. Last year, 2022, when everything started falling apart, it's almost a year now. And again, some of the properties. If you are utilizing RSP and TFSA, if you are not, please learn it. Two things, if you can become the master, where you can invest very safely. Joint ventures, fractional ownership, TFSA, and RSP money. There are $3 trillion available for you. Only $3 trillion, a lot more than the banks have. It's all private funding, and it's all can be done creatively that you do not have to make a mortgage payment if you are decided to do a balloon payments. It's very powerful strategies, by the way. Those strategies going to continue changing. They keep evolving with the economy and the time and the circumstances, though. I bring my point to the forced home sales. This is going to be a lot of Canadians who are going to be facing mortgages up, payments are up, can't afford the house. They're forced to sell. That is very common now. Every day, you get a call or two, you can say good 40-50% call. People are kind of saying, I can't afford anymore, need to get out, get it downside, increase the income, can't do it. Inflation is too high, expenses are rising, I can barely survive. I don't know how long we're gonna sell, how long can we hold on to it? Even though 40% plus Canadians have their houses totally paid off, even still they're hurting. They can't keep up the proper maintenance, proper taxes, the utilities to whatever expenses are. So these are the people who are really facing the problem, are people with variable mortgages when they have to renew it. That hurts a lot more. From interest rate from 1.5 to 5.5, yike. Just imagine if the mortgage, your payment would be from $3,000 to $5,000. You may not have extra $2,000 each month. It's not only one-time deal, it's every month. And there are options available for homeowners. They don't have to sell. They can sell part of it, or we can come up with something really creative which can be help them for the next 3 to 5 years. In the meantime, we can increase their income and the cash flow substantially, that they will not feel the difference though. This is 45% Canadian with variable mortgage. They have to sell under 9 months. How long can they last? They're utilizing a credit card, they're using line of credits or HELOC. Sooner or later, they're running out of the gas. And right now they are saying about 9 months, and we are almost there, 9 months. If you speak to any real estate lawyers who are enforcement, utilizing the mortgage default enforcement or renewals, they are totally overworked. There's so much work on their table, they can't even handle that. So this is, I'm talking about $2.2 trillion. It has been sitting in your RSP and TFSA. That information came from the Investment Funds Institute of Canada. In case you want to know it, ific.ca. Check it out. This was the latest information available for us. This is a part of the problem area, and the federal government is kind of discouraging people not to get into single family investments. In BC, 24%, and Manitoba and Ontario, majority of these properties are owned by investors. And this information came from Stat Canada, by the way. Just thought I should share with you. Those who are never ever got a chance to buy our books, this is a good opportunity to buy it. Real estate grant, business grants, Randy was talking about it. We have been doing this for last, God knows, 30-40 years. This opportunity, you want to get it, hey, entirely up to you. We are the junkies. We love buying houses. So in case you know that, hey, Nav is the junkie, home junkie, love to buy houses. Something you should know. This is a question. I want you to copy it, take a picture of it from, if you are on a computer or so. Ask yourself 4 questions for your success. Why not me, why not now? When are you going to start investing? When are you going to get proper education? Yesterday is gone, tomorrow is never going to come in. Today is the day. If you are moving, hey, need to move quickly though. If you want something you have never had, you must be willing to do something you have never done before. We have some coaching program in case you need a 15-minute free coaching. Give us a call. We'll be happy to set up a timing for you. Apprenticeship is ongoing now. Anybody want to join the apprenticeship, they can join in anytime. You know, we have now very flexible situation where you can come in and join the apprenticeship program anytime. Foreclosures and power sales are coming tremendously. These are the rates from the default rates, which are not applicable to majority of Ontario, because we have a power sale. Our system is totally different. Based upon that, out of 5 million mortgages, only 7,500 Canadians are defaulting, or they're more than 90 days behind. It doesn't happen in Ontario. Ontario is major difference between foreclosure and power sale. So a bunch of power sales are coming up in GTA. This is one of the newspaper, I believe, because of this, all this rate hikes. All these things are because you see what is happening right now. 9 months was the timing where people were trying to struggle, and now the problem is becoming a lot more bigger. And now you're going to see in the month of May, June, July, 3 months, right? They're going to be flood gates open. There will be power sale notices. People will try to compromise. 90% of the deals will be taken away from MLS. Investors, you're going to hit the gold mine in 3 months. Get yourself proper education. Make sure you have funding in place. Able to, guess what? Lock in the deals. This is going to be the perfect timing for you if you are debating on getting a piece of properties where the homeowner defaulting. You are the very best choice for the homeowner, not going through the power sales. Way too expensive, losing credit, becoming homeless. That's not cool. That's not how people want. They don't want to go that way. How they want it, they want to be treated with respect, dignity, and divinity, and helping them to downsize so that they can get a second chance. These are bankruptcies, by the way, by the Hamilton Spectator as of March 1st. The bankruptcies are up by 33%, which is kind of very sad that somebody have to go through it. Unfortunately, due to pandemic and interest rate hike, inflation, and uncertainty, and many other reasons, you know, that's unfortunate truth though. This is another latest news from again on January 10th, tens of thousands of Canadians could default on mortgage due to a rising rate. Bank CEO said that. All these things are in front of you. If you are not fully prepared, you don't have plan of action, you're going to miss the boat. This is going to be a very good boat. Same thing happened in 2008 in US. In my opinion, there is going to be a lot more than what we know, and there's we don't have huge appetite for all these defaults already happening. I'm dealing with few very critical homeowners, and my heart really cries for them because they were misinformed. They lack of education. They work so hard all their life, and I hate to see that they're going to lose it all. And they're going to have to start, they need a second chance to start from scratch. Now they're saying, the bank's saying there'll be 20,000 borrowers who could be in trouble. 20,000 homeowners. That's a huge number for one bank. That's a very huge, by the way. It's all written. It's not my opinion. That's what the newspaper said. Moving forward, Toronto Star again, March 4th. Today is 14th. 10 days ago, why the town is ground zero to Canada rising mortgage. So this is in the area of Milton. 80% of the people who live in the Milton have a mortgage. So what does that mean? Milton is gonna be in the front, going through all these defaults. I can specifically tell you which areas we're gonna have higher defaults, where we can go in and out, how we can help them out, how, if you're a realtor, how you can get more listings, if you're a mortgage broker, where you can get more business. These people are in trouble. This is the area of Halton. The property values have dropped already, and they're gonna drop further. When it rains, it pours, but again, my job is to inform based upon the information we gather from different sources and express our opinions and recommendations for you to take advantage of it and also help other people at the same time. You can be creating a lot of win-win situations during this very creative time. This is another one. Restricted private mortgages have sold by 72% in Ontario. And now brokers fear a wave of what defaults? What default means? Power sale foreclosure. Very simple. March 7th by Clary Feinstein, I'm sorry, that's a business reporter. All the telltale signs are telling us, yes, there is a wave of defaults coming in, and not everybody can handle it. It's a nightmare for the lender or the banker. It's a nightmare for the homeowners. It's not a good situation for either party. Guess what? You can create the bridge. You can turn everything into positive. You have the power as an investor. Armed with the proper knowledge, you can put every deal together. You're a problem solver. And whether you make a dime or you make $1 million is more power to you. But one thing I request all of you to make a commitment to make sure nobody goes homeless. You don't have to make money on every deal. It's okay to be a good person. It's okay to help another family. It's okay to give somebody a second chance. Moving forward, 1.1 billion houses gonna be, again, this thing we discussed about before. There's a masterclass for beginners in case if you have not attended it, if you want to learn about 22 different techniques, how to buy deeply discounted properties. It's next Tuesday, March 21st. You're welcome to buy a ticket quickly, and that will do something. I believe the ticket is about $100 or so. You may have a few seats, by the way, in this thing. Our field trips are very, very helpful. They can be very educational, by the way. Those who have never attended one, check with those people who did attend one. There's 3 ways of learning, and I don't like books. I don't like videos. I don't like reading. And most of you may can relate to me. I like to see things with my own eyes. I hate examples. Show me the real thing, real situation. How many of you feel the best way of learning is the most practical way, doing in a real manner, real time, real deals in real time? Not in the classroom, in the trenches, in the course. Donna raise hand. Okay, sorry, I can't see the hands. Okay, maybe. Oh, you did. Okay, all right. Thank you, Donna. Oh, 3 participants raise hand. Or you can put in the question answer period if you like, Q&A. And in my opinion, one of the best thing what we have been able to provide for the last 32 years or 30 years is we are able to provide that hands-on approach in person. Yes, in person in the course. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, Trisha, once again. Appreciate it, my friend. Yeah, that's very important for you if you have not attended one, though. So there is one more thing where you find a lot of deals goes kaput. Most of people do not realize that we don't realize that half the money you make is taken away from you when you're working for somebody, up to 54% of your paycheck. And if you don't pay your dues in the form of taxes, what does the CRA do to you? They put a lien, and that lien is called super lien. The super priority lien is one of the worst nightmare one can have. And that's something people get to know. People don't pay attention. Now, I know it's a tax time. There's one request I have for you, especially if you're an investor, make sure you have paid your GST or HST. You have not. I hope none of you are into the class of capital gains, because there are better options. If you're not aware of it, how to do it, please learn. You might be spending more money, throwing away more money, which you don't have to. This is a very critical area. Every time we see a deal, a lot of times the deal will not close end of the 12th hour, and they say, "Oh my God, we got a lien against the owner." And I got calls, especially Fridays, one of those days where my phone started burning like crazy, and everybody's calling me, the lawyers, the lenders, whatever. Right? What are we supposed to do? There's a CRA lien. Well, you need to pay for it. Yeah. Is there any relief? No. You have to pay. No negotiation. You cannot even negotiate for 1 cent. The deal will not close if there's lien on it. So having said that, when the market gets tough, people keep forgetting that, hey, I can go to the bank, I can go to the food bank and get the food, I can make the mortgage payment, but please make sure you pay your taxes in time. Good chunk of Canadians don't pay taxes. When you don't file your tax return in time and you owe money, the CRA, I believe, charge you 5% penalty and 1% every month, compounded. So having said that, my job or my obligation to all of you, knowing this business for a long time, a lot of investors get into this trouble, and then they realize that, oh, I should have done. No, make sure that you have a very good team, you have a good CPA to take care of it. So I will open for questions. Today is the only day we're gonna keep open for next 20 minutes for all the questions. So any question you have toward real estate, just type it in. We'll be more than happy to answer for you. I believe Randy is still here. I'm not too sure if David is here, but we'll be happy to answer every question you have. So one question, okay, thank you. Okay, no, that's not the question. Okay, no, sorry, that's David. Okay, Randy is still online here. Please feel free to ask any question you have. Not the tough ones. Okay. When will be the training for free real estate power sale? Okay. Most probably within less than 2 weeks' time. If I'm not mistaken, it could be 28th of March. It's not official, but you heard it. It's not the news which leaked to you, but I believe it will be 28th for sure. Next question we got here. The field trainings are provided for our apprentices only. We do go to different places from time to time, and we have something scheduled. It may be subject to the court on 27th or 28th of March. This is where we are going to be in the courts. We are meeting the owners, and we are also looking at the property, and we're gonna. This is gonna be quite a learning curve. Again, I do not have the confirmed date because we are still waiting from the courts. And once we have it, we'll be informed, and those who apprentices are welcome to take it. Which cities and provinces should we purchase or invest in right now, in your opinion? Excellent question. Depending exactly your knowledge and your connection and your comfort level, if you can invest in your backyard, why not? If you are a brand new investor, look into your backyard. If you are doing some virtual assignment flipping, they're all across Canada. Make sure that you are aware of the new laws which have been there for us from day one. Nothing have changed, even though they call it anti-flipping taxes. Those investors who are seasonal investors, we have been paying our dues exactly the same way the government have asked from day one. So there's nothing changes for us. Majority of the people they do is they will buy the property under their own name. That is not really the best solution unless it's a principal residence. Getting back to the questions, where you should be investing, in my opinion, Alberta should be definitely in your top list, apart from your backyard. There are some areas where you could have a positive cash flow. Even though Windsor, London have taken a beating right now, the property value still holds the cash flow. Three things you need to understand. Cash flow is the name of the game. Second thing, a lot of people will just go and say, hey, let's not invest in condo. But how can you increase the value? How can you have additional income without spending any money? So keep in mind that when you are investing even a single family home, multi-unit or townhouses, look at the potential where you can do your magic, where you can increase the value by $100,000 to $200,000 and have an extra $2,000 a month positive cash flow coming out of it. If I have a holding company and want to stay a JV with new partners, how do I structure this? Should the holding company invest in JV or nothing in my personal name? Okay, it's a question shall be answered by definitely a CPA. We look at three different point of view. First point of view will be from an investor point of view. Investor point of view is very simple. How do I make money on the deal? If I go JV, am I going joint venture partner with my knowledge, with my resources, or with my money? And what's the return? Every JV or every partnership, you should have exit strategy plan ahead of the time. Not one, maybe 4 or 5 different exit strategies. Life happens. Today everything is good. Tomorrow there'll be a lot more challenges. When it got heated, when it got too much, people want to say, oh, I just want to run. They just want to run. They don't understand the pressure. And depending on the investor, 4 things you should definitely do before you pick a JV partner. Ask them about their history. Let them know about your history. Check their credit and check any lien they have before you jump in any partnership. Make sure you have a proper lawyer, proper CPA, and yourself, and you look at this thing from 3 different angles, though. People asking a question. Mr. Khalsi, Ahmed Khalsi, is asking a question about how do we do JV with or limited partnership extra with people on this platform. Obviously, we will give you point if deal closes. Again, back to basics. It's all about you. It's nothing to do you're doing a favor. It's a business deal. From investment point of view, what you're going to go in, when you're going to get out, what is in for you, what if everything goes wrong. You look for your CPA, what's the purpose? If the income is coming in, is it a dividend? Can you pay 0 taxes on income? Third thing, legally speaking, and what are your obligations? You want to keep your liability to 0. Please write it down. Any partnership you're going to go in, keep the liability to 0. As you become a shrewd investor, as some of these investors here tonight who are mega stars, mega superstar, then the superstars, and then we have other category. So these people have done several different deals, dealt with several different very extreme challenges. Those challenges are real education. And those challenges, people can say, oh yeah, really, did you enter all that? Yes, we did. That's where you become stronger. When you start swimming with the sharks, where you have a higher credit, where you have to fight against it. It's just, that's where you learn. It's not, real estate is not simple. It's not something you have a piece of property, rent it out. That's not what real estate is all about. Real estate is all about increasing the cash flow, increasing the value, offer better opportunities for everybody else around you. It's contagious. It's like it's such a good thing that anything happens to you. So getting back to JV or LP, make sure first and foremost, what is your objective? Are you reaching what you want from him? You're just not doing it because, hey, you want to do it. Number two, is there any tax benefit available for you? Can you generate income which is tax-free? Answer is yes. That's what you want. Tax-free income. Third thing is legally, morally, and ethically. Is that okay? It can be put legally. Is that okay with CRA? And you need an entourage of experts around you. Make sure you don't talk to an average person. You want to talk to the very best person you can with experience and knowledge. One of the most, I would say, mega stars, we call them. There's people who have done a couple $100 million deals already. When you speak to them, they have one or two objects very clearly. How do I go in the deal without putting any money? If I do get in the deal, how do I make money? And how do I make money which is tax-free? And how quickly can I take the exit of my choice whenever I want to? Not because you're locked in, because they may have different priorities, things change. And be aware that every JV agreement is different and unique. Same thing with limited partnership. If you're getting into any kind of limited partnership, please check before you invest.ca with Ontario Security Commission. There are some areas which are a bit shady, so be aware of it. I'm going to take one more question before we wrap up tonight, because it's summer break. Sorry, yes, summer break, or no, March break, sorry. I want to keep it short and sweet tonight, and I'll take one or two more questions from you. Anybody have any questions? We still have a bunch of people online tonight. Maybe I should allow a couple of people to come in and see. Oh, why Leonard is gone? Anybody like to have any input? Want to share some input with us? Okay, we've got two questions here. It's a very good question. Two questions came in. What happened? How can we add value between the developer, builder, and the buyer when they cannot close a deal? Well, both are in trouble. Builders hate default. It's not good for him. It's an extra headache. So it's for the buyer or the pre-construction buyer. It's a nightmare for both of them. So the best thing would be in that situation, if a situation comes along, we like to speak to first. We don't talk to anybody. We do not go after anybody. They come to us. That's important. When they come to us, then we are in control. We look at the deal and see how we're going to benefit ourselves, or we just want to get the value. Majority of the time, we notice that, for example, there are areas in the Halton region, especially in Milton area, where the builder have sold the same house for $300,000 to $400,000 more, and now he's selling the same house for $300,000 to $400,000 less. There's something called negotiation. Builders do not like it, but when they realize it, there are going to be few defaults at the same time. Builders like to come on the table quickly. Builders' profit is maybe 10 to 15%, 20%. He only makes a profit when everything closes, just like realtors though. So we are able to bring builders or developers very quickly on the table once we have a deal. I'm dealing with a few deals right now in Mississauga on Highway 10 and Lakeshore, where people have bought the townhouses. They're kind of still retaining its value, but it's about $1 million of townhouses. And it does not make sense from rental point of view. They have restriction that you cannot rent it out and so on. And there's occupancy charges. In the meantime, people who were hoping to flip it were unable to flip it. So there are different challenges. Now, what we have done is we've spoken to the builder. Builder came on the table, changed the terms altogether, willing to negotiate and willing to say, hey, listen, if there's something we can meet halfway. So that deal is being worked out. And builder is extremely happy compared to the buyer, because builder say, listen, you know what, I don't want to go into any further mess though. So hopefully that answered your question. Here's the second question. How are you supposed to network with people if we cannot see them online? This is only for those people who are paid members. They got all the privileges. Next question, a lot of info tonight. Thank you, Teresa, appreciate it. Michael Lang, you need to disclose the purchase when you wholesale a property. Right, absolutely, full disclosures are required, my friend. The best thing ever you can do is full disclosures all the time. It sets you free. Always tell the truth. Always. Sooner or later, the buyer is going to come to know. If I bought a piece of property worth $1 million for $600,000, I'm selling for $700,000. I'm going to tell them, hey, listen, hey, bud, I bought for $600. I'm selling for $700. You saving $300,000. I'm only making $100,000. Are you okay with it? Upfront. Why? Because that builds confidence and a faith and respect. People like it when you don't play games, and especially when they're serious. If they're not serious, who cares? I just tell them, hey, this is what we paid for it. And what they look for is, they don't care how much you paid. All they care is how much money they can make. So it's always a good idea to have a full disclosure and say it strongly and always the truth, always the truth. Next question, how do you use Ellie doing to acquire cash flow real estate businesses? I'm sorry, John Kirk, how to use asset lending to acquire cash flow real estate business that has equity ideas. I'm sorry, John, if you don't mind, I will ask you if you can repeat the question again, please. One question, I have 2 farm properties available to be sold. One in Shelburne, 92 acres, one Niagara Falls, 14 acres, 2 condo assignments still in Port Credit. Please feel free to reach. Okay. All right. Are these properties are at market value? Are they being sold because of distress? What the land you have, is it what the current zoning is all about? Please feel free to text me. I think this thing needs to be discussed privately before you expose this type of properties to anybody. Question is, do you own these properties? Are you simply a realtor? Are you in between person? Are you the current owner? These things need to be questioned. Some of these properties could have, because these 2 properties, what you have mentioned, have been around for a while. Not sure if somebody else is marketing it, or if you are the owner. If you're not the owner, no idea, sir. But you can call me. We'll be more than happy to answer it for you. John Girk, if you want to retype this question. Market value. Well, then this is not the right place. We don't buy anything in the market value in this platform. All the investors are looking for deeply discounted properties. Unless otherwise, this is not the right place. Market value is on MLS or the realtors. Speak to Randy Goodman. She'll be more than happy to help you out, sir. One more question. How to utilize, sorry. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, good night. Done. Okay. That's done. Yes, that's done. Okay. So it might type how to acquire new cash only with vehicle take back, vendor take back. VTBs, owner financing is very simple. Instead of asking thank you, my friend got it. Owner financing is very common. You ask the owner, hey, what you gonna do with the money? Majority of people who are retiring, if they're not getting the property, there are a good percentage of Canadians, more than about 25% of Canadians, or maybe over 40% of Canadians have the properties fully paid up. And once they sell it, the property, they may not need the cash. They're going to put it on GIC or something. So you can speak to them and you can say, listen, there are many different strategies why people will take the owner back funding. You have to teach them how they can benefit from it with owner financing. And one of the best benefit is called deferral. They can defer their capital gain for up to 5 years. So they have to, when you're in a situation, let me know. We would have a consultant work on your deal. You might have to pay them, but it'll be all worth it though. Why it is worth it? Simply because the deal can be put together very quickly and creatively, simply because of bringing a new strategy, which is very helpful for the seller more than a buyer. So anytime you are thinking in real estate business that I want something, make sure you put something for other party up front. Hey, listen, you can get a bigger slice of the cake. Can I get a smaller slice? Nobody minds if you want all the cake. Then people say, no, thank you. You cannot have all the cake. So learn to understand. A part of the negotiation, we have one proper channel on Facebook, sorry, a Facebook group, where I have written a lot extensively about negotiation. So vendor take back, owner financing is a very, very beautiful strategy to negotiate with the seller, giving them all the benefits of the world, and also let them, hey, this is how I benefit from it. If they feel they get more benefit from it compared to you, then they're happy to sell. First of all, the sale is confirmed. It's a firm deal. There's no need to go financing. So bank is a firm deal for you. They'll say yes. And your property is what? It's a security. They like that. Even it's already there, but you reinforce and bring it to their attention. And they like that. And you let them, hey, do you like to pay more taxes? They say, no. They say, give me financing of 0%. Just give me a break. Give me a fresh start, just like somebody else gave you a start. So people understand it if you go by bits and pieces and you gain the confidence and they feel that they are getting a much better deal, even with owner financing. Yes, it always works. Because of this situation with the banks and private lenders, during this market for next 3 years, the next 5 years, even market have shifted. Owner financing always prevails. For example, I've been in business for many, many years, and we refuse to do deals if there's no VT owner financing. Though we'll just tell them, please, no, it's not for you, it's not for us. And when they come back, we reduce the price. Don't waste our time. It works very well in Alberta, by the way. I believe you are from Alberta, John. Is that correct? If you're from Alberta. All right, we're gonna wrap up unless otherwise somebody have one more question, because I'm getting few questions on the email as well as on the text message. All right, we're going to wrap up here. I want to say thank you to everybody for being here tonight. We are just utilizing a new system. The new system is going to allow us to those people who are paid members get more privileges, and those who are just coming in as complimentary, they don't get all the privileges though. Thank you, everybody, and good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, you are on. Excellent. We can hear you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Teresa. Good night.
Night.
Good night.